All right, so this is the Infinite Investment Game, and this is part 5 with my interview with Ziggyno. And please enjoy. And if you want to see the original 2 parts that's not chopped up, you can just go on his YouTube channel.
Now, especially when the country becomes industrialized, because you got to figure out like who's going to be buying this in the future, especially if you're holding 20, 30, 40 years from now. And you also have to look at the sport. Is the sport is going to be popular? And then also you have to assume economic situations is good, because what happens is most of these the people who are very successful in cards. If you look at Gary Vee, Ashby David, you say Vegas Dave, the sports card investor, they've built businesses or had careers in other things, and they probably have other investments, and then they're successful in those, and then they got extra money and they put in sports cards.
No, absolutely. And it's fun to play then. When it's not, again, when it's extra money, it's easier to play that way, right?
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of these younger people getting in this and all starry-eyed, and maybe they had a lot of success. They're about to find out, especially with interest rates going up and things such as that, is like, there'll be a few people who can flip and make money, but I think most people will be better off taking their time and energy and effort instead of flipping cards, learning a skill. Maybe they can stay in the hobby, buy stuff that they like, but learning a skill, doing something to benefit society, and then come back in when they have more money, have money in other investments, and do that. I think a lot of people are basing what they think about, because I think most of these whales and big time investors like Gary and all this, except sports card investors, he's super bullish, but they kind of already see that things are waning.
Correcting, yeah.
And they kind of predicted. They knew it's not going to last forever. Knew it's not. And
I'll put it this way: the people in the sports card industry knew it wouldn't last forever. You know what I'm saying? Like the Paninis of the world knew that. The dealers of the world, they knew this was an anomaly. They quietly enjoyed it, but they knew it was an anomaly. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny. I still think the market's going to correct. I think prices are too high across the board. I think there's too much uncertainty. I think the whole Fanatics thing, even when, like, if Fanatics buys Panini, that doesn't settle the dust. I think we still need probably a few years to see things settle, because regardless, here's what's going to happen. Fanatics built their projections on numbers from 2020, right? When they said we're going to 10x the market, they built that on looking at the 20 year and even 19 year. Even look at 2019 revenue. They 10x that. It's not realistic. So it'll take them a few years to realize, okay, that's not realistic growth. They're going to have to reset some expectations. And I think in the meantime, we're going to see some overprinting. We're going to see a lot more products. We're going to see more garbage and less quality. And like you said, I think you're going to see people who are going to, not going to leave the hobby. I kind of think of it as like a cicada. They're going to hibernate for a while, right? You might see people who go away for 5 years, who might come back in 10 years. And you might have another wave 10 years from now. When, say, for example, there's a spinoff, when Fanatics fails and they spin Topps off again, and spin Panini off again, right? So I do agree with you. It's cyclical, right? And we just need to look back at that as it is cyclical. When these big spikes happen, realize that there's going to be downs too. That's life.
Also, like, people don't really understand the difference between organic demand and hype-driven demand.
Yep.
And here's the thing: from probably 2020 to probably to, let's say, March of this year, I think a lot of people were rewarded doing the wrong thing.
Yep.
I remember I was in the sports cards, and it got to the point where people were like, buy second year, third year cards, fourth year cards, whole fourth year cards, long term, you know.
My favorite example is the LeBron James 2019 Prism, because he's wearing a Lakers jersey. That was the logic. It's his 17th year in the season, but he's wearing a Lakers jersey. I did too. In fact, here's a true story. That was the last year I think we had a bunch of Prisms with my kids, And I normally donate all of our common cards, right, to the Boys and Girls Club. We used to donate to Boys and Girls Club. We do different things now, but I remember I saw those cards selling, and thought to myself, "Holy crap!" I looked through the box, and I had probably 15 or 20 of them that I was going to donate. That I will tell you, I did take out, and I sold them for like $10 a piece. Now I feel bad about that. I think I probably should donate them, but I used to donate them because I remember the kids would always be asking, "Are the base stars in there?" They wanted the base LeBron cards. You know what I'm saying? The base Kawhi cards. They wanted those things. So the fact that people are buying them at 100, I think that hit at $800 in a PSA 10 for that card. That's awful. That is exactly like you said. That's a perfect example of just no one was there to say that's, you know, you're touching the third rail of that's the electric. You get burned. Don't do that. You know? Because I remember then the Kawhi card. Someone's like, "Oh, Kawhi's in the Clippers uniform. It's his first year there." And then they thought Kawhi was going to win was going to win the his third ring before before LeBron.
Yeah.
Right. So, man, looking back, you're right. There is organic growth and there's hype growth. And man, that was a lot of hype growth. It wasn't organic. It wasn't like real people, real collector, real interest, real numbers. Like I'll put this way, it still blows me away. Where right now there's this whole refractor thing, right? Where everybody's into refractors and inserts. I grew up even in the 80s. And when I came back in the middle 2000s, the only card of value is a rookie card.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that to be mean, but it's a rookie card. Auto card's great, but you might collect a card because it's shiny, it's a bet. But the reality is the card that people want to have years from now is the rookie card. That's why they're arguing over the whole Michael Jordan thing. You know what I mean? Like they don't want Michael Jordan's fourth year card. I mean, I'm sure they do because he's Michael Jordan, but most players, you don't want their fourth year card. So
you know something really crazy? 1987 Fleer Michael Jordan PSA 10. I remember I saw an article on the Sports Car Investor website, you know, cars to buy, whatever. And I was thinking about, oh, that'd be cool. I can get like an 87 Fleer. I can't afford 86, but you know, I kind of like how the car looks okay. And I was thinking about buying it. It was like at $1,000 on eBay. And I saw an article says worth around $1,000. And I was like, and I'm pretty sure I could have negotiated to get it for $900, $950.
yeah,
I didn't buy it.
yeah, good.
Do you know 2021, February, March, do you know what that car sold for?
I don't. I'm afraid to ask.
$82,000, $82,500 at the peak.
What's it at now?
It's probably 20,000 or 15,000 or something like that.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I never would have touched that card.
See, yeah, I think, yeah, like people don't really understand, like the other issue I have is with these indexes. Like the indexes, I don't think matter unless like I don't think indexes matter unless you can directly invest in this index and you get paid a dividend. If these indexes are supposed to be showing like, also I just think a lot of success from the sports car hobby from people kind of have people like, it just taught them a lot of wrong lessons. They have a backwards thinking about things. They're like, oh, well, sports cars hasn't overall gone down as much as stocks and stuff like that. I thought, you know, people talk about, you know, the time to buy is like when blood is in the streets and there's the most discounts or whatever. Yep. And I think most people, and I'm not against people like going and invest in sports cars or collectibles and stuff like that, but I think people aren't really being smart about it. Like, I think most people, even in sports cars, be better off investing in S&P 500, doing dividends, or buying a stock that gives you a dividend, because cars don't give you a dividend.
Yeah.
Or buying real estate, buying a house, renting out to people, and get consistent income.
Yeah, well, I didn't say this again. A lot of people coming to sports cars have a gambling background, right? I mean, have some gambling background, sports, gambling, something. And I think because of that, they are willing to risk and lose. Because a lot of people I know, for example, if they lose in sports cards, mentally, like, well, I got cards, and they'll put them away and they'll never touch them again. So they've lost that money, but in their mind, they haven't officially, you know what I'm saying? Like there's this something they can touch and go, well, I didn't lose the full $500. I've got $100 in cards if I ever get around to selling it. So there's still that kind of mental, you know, I can't explain, but ability that people have to justify why they're in sports cards, right? I mean, that's what I used to be, a gambler, and then I got into sports cards because, again, I could gamble on sports cards. You gamble on either the rookie class opening a box, buying a team, but you had something in return at a minimum. And even what's even better is if you held on to that something, it might then later have value. Like for example, you buy rookie cards. A friend of mine told me years ago, always hold your rookie cards, always, because that rookie, somewhere down the road might do something, has a flash, change a team, whatever, and then it has value. And that's kind of a cool thing about sports cards that I think have kept people in the game, right? It's not like a scratch off where a scratch off, you lose, is a loser. It's not going to ever be a winner again, right? Sports card has a what if. It's a what if, it's like a maybe, a second chance. I guess that's why people are into it as much,
Yeah. One thing is, let's say if you're doing basketball, you're going to hold on to a guy. History shows that if a guy is under 6'5" or 6'5" or under, they're not going to be top 10 all time. So Oscar Robinson is 6'5", and to be honest with you, the real reason Oscar Robinson kind of still has kind of clout today is because he lucked up and played with Lou Alcindor, who's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and got him a championship.
Yeah,
if he didn't play with him, he would have never gotten a ring.
Yeah.
So people need to think that
he'd be in a Westbrook, right, or Harden.
Yeah,
really good, talented player. And that's the thing. Again, that's another thing I just say in sports. There's more great players. And first of all, anybody in pro sports is a great player. Okay, everybody should realize that anybody in sports is a great player if you're pro. But there's a lot of great players that just don't have value. And that's again goes back to that logic thing. Don't confuse emotion with logic, right? This is a very interesting world because sometimes you sit there. In fact, what was it I saw an Instagram thing was talking about the prism, where the gold prism often sells more than the black gold prism, which is numbered to 5, right? Well, why is that? Well, to me, it's not a logic thing. It's just the clout. People talk about the gold prism so much, that they put more value in it, but number to 5 is definitely shorter printed.
Yeah. And also I've noticed like people seem to just now starting to research stuff that they buy now. Just because we kind of mentioned like the Hall of Fame thing. Kevin Garnett's like top rookie card was like the finest. And I was going to sell the top's finest card. It was like a
top chrome.
Yeah. And the PSA 10s eventually went up, but at first his tops cards were going crazy. And people were buying his PSA 10s tops. And I believe they have a higher, it's not as nice of a card. And also, yeah, a lot of times I did research on stuff because I was originally like getting into like Immaculate and finding deals on Immaculate and National Treasures and Flawless, but nobody wanted them. They wanted base. They wanted base PSA 10 prisms.
Yeah, it was bizarre. It's very bizarre. Well, again, that could be something that changes. In fact, it's when I think of Kyrie and KD, those are two players that had great value that I don't think they'll ever have major card value because of their reputations in basketball. Like, do you think KD's card value will ever go up as high as it was again? Because he could win a ring somewhere, and I don't think people are going to like him. Like, he's kind of turned into the heel.
I would say he's top 15 all time.
As a player, but card value is going
to. The issue is because I look at different decades. So I'll look at from 2000 to 2009, who are the top players. It's LeBron, Curry. Those are very likable. And then Kevin Durant. He's pretty well known. Like out of like famous NBA players, he's in the top 10. So that's something. His career isn't over. I would just be careful.
I don't think his career's over. I think his card love is over. Like I look at his card love slipping like even like a Kawhi. I mean, no one gives Kawhi card love, right? I don't know why. People say it's because he's not very personal, whatever it is. I just will tell you, I don't see like KD could go wherever he ends up next year, make a run and win a championship. I don't see his card making it. Where if Giannis did that, his card would move. Giannis wins the second title, people like Giannis, his card would move, in my opinion. Curry wins another title, his card would move again. Right? Even LeBron might move on a ring, but I don't think KD would. I don't think Kyrie would either.
I don't think Kyrie would. So I
don't think Kyrie will ever win that.
Here's something would probably have changed. If Kawhi would have stayed with Toronto and maybe won another ring for them, I think there are a bunch of collectors in Toronto who would love Kawhi Leonard cards.
Well, you could if you just stayed in Toronto, he would have had Canada collectors just there alone.
True.
You know what I'm saying? You're right. Because winning a title there, it's sad that he kind of went there and left so quickly, because if he stayed there, he could have made a career for himself there.